All right, welcome to the January 2024 Fremont for Everyone members meeting. And yeah, Happy New Year. Thank you all for being here. So our main attraction today is we have Angelina Cornejo from the East Bay Housing Organizations who's going to talk to us about the housing bond. But first, I think, we have potentially some new faces here, so I wanted to just go through and do some quick introductions. So we all know who's in the room physically and virtually. How about I start with the folks online, because there's more of you, and I can just call on people because we don't have to worry about, who's going next. Does that sound good? Okay, Kate, since we've already been talking to you, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Kate Amon. I've lived in Fremont since 1995, and I care that everyone has a place to live. And like everyone, I was distressed with the Housing Navigation Center when there was so much NIMBYism, and we want to counter that with compassion. So that's why I'm here.
Beautiful. Thank you. David.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Lisa, for hosting in person and virtually. I'm on the leadership team, formerly on the City Council, lifelong resident, and I'm excited to hear this program tonight.
Fantastic. Iris and Leonard. Finding the mute button. Got it.
Hi, I'm Iris Nicholson, and Leonard's here too, and will be joining us. I've actually participated in a couple of these meetings. I was part of the development of the Navigation Center and was distressed at the uproar that it created among our community members who are terrified by people who are unhoused. So I'm really interested in looking for ways to promote a more constructive strategy.
Thank you for being here. And we're just doing interviews with the online people, and then we'll do in person. Carol, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Carol Drake, and I've been living in Fremont since 2014. So I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Thank you. And Aditya.
Hi, I'm Aditya. I'm actually in San Diego right now because I go to college at UC San Diego, but my family lives in Fremont, and I'm generally interested in the affordability crisis, so I'm just here to learn.
Amazing. Thank you for being here, Aditya. Lilia.
Hello, my name is Leah Malfavon. I work for California YIMBY. I'm the distributed organizing manager there, and I am excited to be part of being able to go to these meetings for Fremont for Everyone, and seeing more how local issues arise there, and as well as how you guys look to solve them at a local level and at a state level and everything else. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. Catherine.
Hi, obviously my name is Catherine. I've been living in or around Fremont since 2007. And even when I haven't been in Fremont, it's sort of my hub for everything else that I do in life. And Fremont has become very important to me. And after having been homeless, I find that this is a subject that is of extreme interest to me. And this is my mission in life, to end homelessness.
Amazing. Thank you for that. I think I've hit everybody online because Angelina's here in the room. So did I miss anybody? I think you've all gone. All right, we'll switch to in-room intros. Would you like to go next, Angelina?
Sure. I wonder what makes the most sense.
Yeah, feel free to stand up in the front.
Hello, everyone. I am your presenter and your guest today. My name is Angelina Cornejo, and I work for East Bay Housing Organizations as a campaign strategy coordinator, and I'm happy to be here.
Great. I'll go next. Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm the one who's been talking at you this whole time. I'm one of the elected volunteer leaders with Fremont for Everyone, and here because I'm passionate about affordable housing and ending homelessness, like all the rest of you. And for other folks, this is the microphone. Do you want me to try to hand it back, or are you willing to come up and say hello? All right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I've lived in Fremont since 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. And I care a lot about making sure the homeless are housed and everything.
Are you willing to come up to the mic? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marie. I've been involved with Fremont for Everyone for a while now. I was on the leadership team for a while. Like everyone else, I'm very concerned about affordable housing and also ending homelessness in Fremont.
Marie is one of our fabulous volunteers with the safe parking program. So thank you for making this thing that was a campaign a reality in real life. All right, would you like to go next? Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Erin and Harris, and I've just come to check you guys out, see what's going on. Okay.
Yay, I'm Linda Doolady. I have been part of Fremont Everyone since we were trying to form the Housing Navigation Center. Seems like ages ago, but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a great organization that we built from the ground up, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Linda. And Linda and David were both part of our delegation to Sacramento last year during the NB Lobby Day. So when we get to that part of the agenda, I'm probably going to put you two on the spot to talk about how great it was. So get ready for that. All right. And without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce Angela. Well, she just introduced herself to bring to the floor Angelina Cornejo for the presentation. May I have privileges? Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. It's okay. Okay, you have it now. Yeah. Let's see. That, do you want me to hide this stuff to get that out of the way and then That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. This way is better. Please let me know if you can't hear me. Okay, because I could also take my mask, but it's okay. Okay. So thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm here to talk about the 2024 regional affordable housing bond measure that is going to be on the November 2024 ballot. And am I correct in saying that you all are pretty familiar with this? Or would you like more of a overview? I'm gonna breeze through it because I looked up today how we're like 9 months away from the election. Can y'all believe that? And like just over like 200 days. So you know we need to hit the ground running. So I'll just breeze through it, and I know you all don't need me to go through why we need this. So but this is just an overview of who we are. We're the Bay Area Housing for All Coalition, also known as BAHA. And you might notice some organizations there that are sort of like in your sphere as well. We have California YIMBY on there, I think, YIMBY Action. And so this is who we are, and we're right there, EPO. And I'm from East Bay Housing Organizations, and well, we're a nonprofit. We're a membership-based organization, and we are working hard to produce, preserve, and protect affordable housing for low-income communities, because we want everybody to have a safe and stable home that's affordable. So we all know that we need a system change. We know we've been underproducing housing. We're at the rate of like 14% that we need. And we know that local government bonds are like one of the vehicles to make sure we have the funding that we need to address this regional issue. We know that this is a regional issue. We know that the Bay Area is so interconnected. And the way that we've been doing it in the past has been piecemeal. County by county, we'll put on a ballot. City by city, we'll put on a ballot. And we can't keep up with the need. Again, like we have these housing challenges, right? 45% of renters, of the region's renters are rent burden, meaning that they pay more than 30% of their income on housing. But I know you all know this, and we all know that in particular, marginalized communities like BIPOC communities are hit the hardest. But we think we can change this. And I mean, that's why y'all are here, because we think we can change this. And so that's where BAFA comes in. And they're poised to place a $10 to $20 billion 9 county-wide ballot on November 2020. This is sort of like an overview of how BAFA was created. BAFA is like, it's an entity that is housed by the MTC and ABAG boards. And it was established through this whole process of realizing that there's a need from all the way back to 2018. A coalition went to New York City to study the New York model, because New York has a very specific and similar to BAFA financing infrastructure for housing. And then AB 1487 is what created it. That was a choose bill. And in 2020 and 2021, they received their first appropriation of $20 million. And then most recently, Kay Harley was hired to be the executive director. So with that $20 million, Bay Area, I always forget what the H stands for. Housing Finance Authority. Yes, of course, housing. Bay Area Housing Finance Authority has been already doing a lot of great work with their $20 million appropriation. They created Doorway, which is a pilot program, but it is a one-stop shop for affordable housing. You can look up to see what availabilities there are. And they've done a bunch of other stuff like affordable housing pipeline to see what we have to build, a bunch of preservation stuff. They've been doing so much with just the $20 million that they already have. But imagine if they had 10 to $20 billion, right? Like that's like just like a historic transformational amount of money that could produce over 45,000 affordable homes, create jobs, and be able to leverage more of the money for state funds. And obviously like 20 billion would be twice that. This is what the pipeline that I was talking about earlier. This is one of the things that BAFA did to basically figure out how many homes are in pre-development around the county. And what really is stopping them, I mean, there's other things, but the main source that developers have said, nonprofit developers have said, the thing that is the biggest barrier to creating these homes is the funding. Subsidized housing, affordable housing needs subsidy. It's not for profit, so it needs some sort of government like funding to be able to be created to help the most vulnerable. These are the parameters that Choose Bill AB 1487 created for BAFA. This is like what the statute is, and this is what the responsibility of BAFA is, and it's outlined very clearly that any revenue that is created would be returned to source. 80% of it would go back to where it came from, and 20% will be distributed in a regional way. And this is the breakdown. It follows the 3 Ps approach. And it also has money for some flexible funding. And you can see that both the regional funding pool and the county pool have legal designations about how they can spend their money. And if we want to change that, it will require new legislation to change that. But that's how it is. That's how it was envisioned so far. And this just kind of gives a bigger breakdown of the different things that they can do based on the 3 Ps buckets. I won't go too much into this. You can look at it just for reference. And this is how much money we would be getting if we did a $10 billion bond or a $20 billion bond. As you can see, Alameda County would get almost $1 billion of the $10 billion fund, or of the 10, if it was a $10 billion, and $2 billion if it was $20 billion bond. Like, can you imagine? It's just crazy. And then Oakland and a lot of the other bigger cities will get their own tranche of money. There has been some consideration about learning sort of from like past bond measures about the disparity that there is when like one of the bigger cities competes for funding that is at the county level, we find that smaller cities like Fremont or like Albany, for instance, like they just don't get enough, even though the need is still there. So this is an idea of trying to create some sort of equity between the big cities and the smaller cities. Okay, I thought that was might have been a question. So what are our goals? Is we want to create a systems change. This is something that's new that we're creating here in the Bay Area. We are trying to be innovative with it, with this regional approach. And we want to make sure that we have like homeless solutions. We want to create a big coalition. There's a lot of us who care about this crisis. There's a lot of ideas, a lot of different priorities, but we all know that we need funding to do the things each of us want. And we got to look at it not from a scarcity point and think about abundance and how we can try to attack this homeless and affordability crisis through all the different ways that we can. And we want to, like do grassroots organizing in order to build a long-term housing agenda that centers racial equity and that we could win future ballot measures when something new or like we need to replenish the funding. So those are our goals. So we've been talking about this bond and it's not even on the ballot yet. We've been talking about it since last year. We're still in the building capacity feasibility stage of the campaign. This is what we're doing right now. We're getting elected officials. We're trying to secure key endorsements. I'm doing presentations everywhere. I'm trying to train people to go out there and talk to their networks. That's what we're doing. We're trying to create this big tent, all leading up to BAFA placing it on the ballot. And that should happen. The filing deadline, as you can see here, is August. There are key meetings that are happening at the MTC and ABAG board that are decision point meetings about crafting the ballot measure that we will all be voting for. And those are all like leading up to placing it on the ballot. And then once it's on the ballot, that's when we start talking to voters. And that will be post-August when we do the campaign. And election day is November 5th. Also happens to be my birthday. And it's the funniest thing. And so that's it. So how to get involved? We want you all to join our coalition. We want you to champion it with your networks. We need help with fundraising, because mailers and ads and yard signs cost money. And if you East Bay Housing Organization is your East Bay like one-stop shop for anything having to do with this bond in the East Bay. That's Alameda County and Contra Costa County. And I wanted to show that we have over 100 elected officials who have endorsed this measure in principle, basically, because there's no ballot yet. And if you look, this is the Bay Area Housing for All website where you'll find more information about the bond, the supporters and the coalition. And if you look, who's missing? We don't have a single Fremont person, elected official who has come on board. And that's why I'm here. That's why I drove all the way over here, because we really need help here. And I know you all already tuned in. So my two asks today is, well, maybe I have three. Endorse it and help get the word out. And how do you do that? We're still in that feasibility stage. We need because you know who sits on those ABAG MTC board is your elected officials. The people who are going to vote to place it on the ballot are your elected officials. And we need to have a strong showing there. And those meetings that I was talking to you all about, these upcoming meetings, the decision point meetings, are opportunities for us to go and tell the elected officials who are crafting the ballot measure what we want to see on there, and to show support and to show unity. So before we even start talking to our neighbors, we are all under, like, we sort out our differences, we sort out what we're going to put on there, and we stand behind it, and we pass it. So it's really critical to join these ABAG MTC meetings, and I can follow up with this via email, to give your opinion about it and to show support so that we can place it on the ballot to begin with and for this like transformational 10 to 20. And the second thing would just just ask. I want to assign you all if you all do decide to endorse it, you know, a 5-minute email to one elected official asking for their support. That's all we're asking for right now. And that's sort of where we are in the stage. So I think that's it. And I'm open for any questions. I don't know every single thing, but if I don't know it, I can always follow up and find out what the question is. Yeah. This is for the 9-county Bay Area.
Okay.
No. Yes. Did you all hear the question in online, y'all? The question was whether this was going to be statewide or countywide. I said this is a 9-county bond. Yeah. Yes.
So what if 5 counties pass it for them?
So the way that this is going to work is that it's going to be all of it.
Okay.
So say for instance, somebody doesn't, one county or jurisdiction does not meet threshold. But we meet the threshold, it will pass. So that's good to hear because I know in Alameda County, we have been fortunate to pass housing bonds. Places like Contra Costa, Marin, they are not there. And I was remiss in mentioning that there is a statewide campaign that's happening sort of jointly with us, and that is actually to lower the threshold for housing bonds to 55%. This came out of ACA 1 that was in the legislature last year. And that one will be a statewide, and it's putting it to par with school bonds that we think makes a lot of sense. And right now there's polling out in the field that is going to be a public poll to see where voters stand today on the $20 billion bond in order to help inform what voters can support and what we can actually place in front of them. Yes.
So the question.
Mm-hmm.
So if the ballot country takes 5.0 million it goes through, that doesn't mean immediate.
Yes.
Okay, so that would also apply to the public bar on the same.
Yes, that's the key, right? So the question was how I mentioned the lowering of the threshold with the bond. If they both pass, it goes into effect. If the bond for whatever reason only reaches 56%, that would mean that it would pass because if the other one passes too. It's fun, y'all. I love campaigns.
And it's how you threshold necessary was the threshold 25%.
That would just be a simple majority. Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Does the bond have, or sorry, does the lowering of the threshold have to pass the 66% threshold? No. Simple majority.
We have a hand online.
Oh yeah, sorry. David.
David, I'm not hearing you. You're muted, David. David, I need you to unmute.
Sorry. Did you make a pitch thank you for your presentation, but I was wondering if you actually made a specific ask of the council members. Why do you have some from some council and not any from Fremont? I wanted to see, if they've been contacted and they've ignored it, that's one thing. If they've not been specifically contacted and you're still trying to have us do the outreach, then it's a different kind of ask on our part. We're not going to assume that they've been blowing you off.
Yeah, so we as an organization are, unfortunately, our core cities are outside. So basically, yeah, we don't really, and that's partly why I'm trying to do more outreach, is that East Bay housing organizations or core cities are not too much into Southern Alameda County. It's a capacity thing for us right now, and we're trying to change that by trying to create more relationships. So as an organization ourselves, we have not made that ask because we find that it is more effective when somebody who has a relationship with a council member to make an ask. And it shows more of a community support than just a
Oh,
blind.
I agree, but it really changes my approach or what I would recommend that we do as an organization. And because I would beat them up over the side of the head if they had been reached out 5 times and they're blowing up, as opposed to we're your ambassadors and happy to do that. So it's a
Yes,
different.
yes, yeah, no, I thank you for the opportunity to clarify that. I definitely didn't mean to, by showing all the elected officials, didn't mean to be like, oh no, y'all are not supportive over here. It was just, yeah, it's a capacity thing, and I'm trying to
Sure. Yeah.
relationships, because we do need, I mean, it's also like, we also need, as an organization, East Bay Housing Organizations, we do need to start reaching more outside of our core cities.
Thank you very much.
Step up to the mic. So my first question is, these meetings here, are these in person only, or do they have a call in, or which one is?
Yeah, I can give a more thorough list. This is just like off one of the slides I got. But they do have online options. So that's awesome. And so I will give you all of that information. And if we could just keep like coordination about this, I mean, it doesn't have, like, we can all be making the same mess, you know? But yeah, any other questions? Yeah, so I'd love to know if y'all, I don't know what your bylaws say or what your processes is, but I'd love to know if y'all endorse, sorry, one more question.
So what's the percentage of the ballot needing to have it early?
So right now, as it stands, it's 66.67%. And if you all were paying attention in the last election, we saw that high of a threshold has been a challenge for some jurisdictions, including Berkeley, who failed to pass Measure L this last time around, but actually had more than 55%, just couldn't meet that high. Undemocratic, I feel, 66.6%. Any other questions? David, is that your hand from before?
I have sort of comment, I guess, which is because you asked about our bylaws and how we approve things. So the way that we approve things is a ballot that we send out by email. All of you, by being here, are members in good standing because our threshold is, are you participating? So please check your email. I will do my best to get that sent out tonight. So if you don't get it, you all, I think, know how to contact me either on Facebook or on email, or just write to Fremont4everyone@gmail.com if you're not hearing from us that with the ballot to endorse this, because I think at this point we all have a lot of information and can make our decision. Can I get sort of a wave if you're saying yes, you'll open up your ballot and you'll send in your ballot? All right, and is anybody here, is email a barrier to being able to participate? Because we definitely want your input regardless of how you communicate. Okay, so with that, if I get it out tonight, then it's a 3-day turnaround time, so it should be by next week.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you so much again for the opportunity. Please consider me a resource on anything related to this. I can connect you if I don't know the answer. And yeah, this is the beginning of the campaign pretty much. So I'm excited to continue to work with y'all and pass this thing and change lives. Yeah, thank you.
Who's excited to help out with the campaign for the bond measure?
You are.
I'm excited regardless of what Fremont for Everyone decides. I think we're probably going to endorse, but if we don't, I'm going to personally fight for this because this is just great. So yeah, with that, I think, did anybody have any other questions about the bond process? If not, our next agenda item is actually also bond related. Okay, so the next item that we're going to cover, we just got an ask from here. Let me screen share the agenda real quick for folks who didn't have a chance to see before. So we just had our fabulous guest speaker. Thank you so much. And please help yourself if you want to. I think I might have to go. Okay. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Take care. Get home safe. So our next thing, we got a request from East Bay for Everyone, which if you don't know, is the pro-housing organization that covers more Oakland and, basically the northern part of the East Bay. They're very wonky and good at coming up with detailed policy recommendations, and they've put together this sign-on letter, and they've asked for our support. And we can send this out to you all to get your support so you can read it carefully. So basically what it says, first off, it says that, anybody who signs on does support the bond. So that would be a prerequisite for us to be able to sign on. And then it additionally makes a bunch of extra recommendations that are intended to make it easier to build more housing more affordably. And like I said, it gets pretty wonky. One of the ones that caught my attention, because we've been talking about the recent notice of funding availability in Fremont, is this big awards to make projects go. That right now, a lot of affordable housing projects have to piece together a patchwork of funding from a bunch of different sources. And that makes the cost of the whole project go up, which makes the cost of building affordable housing go up. And it's not the best situation. So this recommendation is prioritize bigger awards that are going to fund a larger portion of the project so that the sort of cost of getting funding can go down. So that's the type of wonky detail stuff that's in here. I'm not going to go through everything in detail because I don't completely understand all of it. But I recommend if, do folks have an appetite for reading through this slowly on your own time to see if this is something that we want to sign on to and, build our strength with our northern neighbor? If it works, I can just pop this on the same ballot with the do we endorse the bond, so just get it all together. Anybody online have an opinion about that? I can't really see you all. Let me stop sharing so I can see you. Okay, we'll leave it there. Seeing a thumbs up from David. Thank you for the proactive reaction. Okay, so good. So your ballot tonight will have those two things to start with. And then the next item on our agenda is lunch. I'm sorry? Oh, hi, Gata. Good to see you. So yeah, the next item that we're talking about here is the California YIMBY Lobby Day. So Linda or David, would either of you like to volunteer to talk about how much fun it is to come to Lobby Day? David's raising his hand. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Not to the exclusion of Linda, I would love to hear Linda's impression. We both were there. It was exciting because although California YIMBY's been doing it for several years, it coincided with COVID and it was remote. And so that last year, still most of us, or all of us wearing masks, had the first in-person contact with our local legislators or state senators and state assembly members' office. And we actually were met by our state senator while we were there. We are blessed. For those that don't know the program, there's a lobby day where statewide people volunteer from across the state and advocate for the housing legislation supported by Cal YIMBY. And we get to meet other people from around the state, and we get to meet the leadership of California YIMBY. And it's a real sense that we're part of a statewide movement that is so desperately needed as a counterbalance to all of the years and all of the lobbying that has been done, frankly, to restrict housing and to make it more difficult to provide the affordable housing that we need. It's been a 40-year problem in the making, and we're turning the tide. And it's nice to see, I'm sort of one of the more seasoned people there. Most of the generational energy is from people in their 20s and 30s because they have to live with the consequences of our baby boomers making horrible decisions that have been very selfish over these years. So it is a real opportunity to get a breath of fresh air, to be rejuvenated, to be passionate about why we're doing what we're doing, and to see people that are mission driven and aligned with us in Sacramento. Very, very exciting.
Thank you so much, David. Linda, did you want to go as well?
So I think the thing that, for me, that was the most effective and most helpful participating in lobby day, besides going on the crazy car ride with David and everybody in the back, in the car, was that sometimes when we are doing this project and we are working towards a big goal like affordable housing and eliminating homelessness, is you kind of feel a little bit alone. Like you kind of feel like you're yelling into the ether and hoping that someone is going to hear you. So being in a room with 35, 40, 50 other people who have that same mindset as you, and we talked about things and we shared some experiences, and then we trooped over to the Capitol building and the adjacent buildings where the Congress people had their offices, and we stormed the bastions and went in and talked to our representatives' assistants. We didn't really get to talk to, we did get to talk to Aisha for a few minutes. Alex was running around doing crazy stuff, so we didn't get to talk to him specifically, but we got to talk to people who were on the lines of getting those things done and making us feel like I really felt like we were heard. And that it's hard to get that satisfaction sometimes when we are working in our little individual projects and wishing that we had some kind of recognition for that. So for me, that was very energizing and very a good use of my day to go all the way to Sacramento and hang out and do all that kind of stuff. So if I can work it out, I'd love to go again this year. So.
And since I was also there, I'll give my own little testimonial. Before I started lobbying with groups like Fremont for Everyone and also Citizens Climate Lobby, I had never met a congressperson or a state legislator or their staff. I didn't think I was important enough to meet them. And it's really empowering to have organizations like this grease the wheels and make it pretty easy to happen. Like you pretty much sign up and show up, and you do have to get yourself to Sacramento, but like last time we arranged a carpool, so we might be able to do something like that again. The only other challenge, it is on a Monday, so if you work Monday through Friday, that could be a challenge. But I've always found, it's one day to take off, and it's a worthy use of a PTO day. So I have already signed up for this year. I encourage everybody in the room and on the phone, if you're interested, to sign up, and let me go ahead and drop the sign up link in the chat so that you all have that. And the date is April 8th. So there we go. Okay. I got it. Yes, we have not yet gotten to the point in time count, so we're getting there. Thank you for the question. Okay. So next up, well, first off, did anybody have any questions about YIMBY Lobby Day?
I do. Which is our group usually come with an agenda, written agenda, policy requests, and all of that.
That's a great question. So Sandra's question was, does the group come with an agenda and policy questions? So the YIMBY group puts together the agenda for us of which bills we're lobbying on, and there are going to be bills that will be familiar to us, assuming that we go through the process we've gone through in the past few years of evaluating and hopefully endorsing many of the bills that California YIMBY is putting forth. So there are bills that we probably will have already endorsed by then. And but yeah, they'll make the list. There'll be sort of a priority list of what they think is worth talking to legislators about. And we'll have some discretion to pick within the list, but that'll be driven by the statewide organization so that all of the offices are hearing about the same bill. That's part of what gives the day its power. Did I address the question right? Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the question. Anything else on YIMBY Lobby Day? Okay, great. Then let's talk about, here, let me screen share the agenda again, just so folks have it. So this is, we're already up to number 5. We're making good time. Good job, team. So these first two are just things we've already done that I wanted to, give a shout out to everybody who worked on it and make sure that everybody knows that it happened. So on January 12th, we submitted a letter on the homelessness response plan. And I have a printed copy in case anybody in the room wants to see it. It's 8 pages, so 4 double-sided sheets of our thoughts on how Fremont's homelessness response plan can be as strong as possible. And it's been shared on the Facebook group. It will hopefully pop up as one of the public comment submissions in the February 6th council meeting. And we've also sent it directly to the consultants who are working on the homelessness response plan so that they can take our input. And they had specified to us that January 12th was kind of the cutoff point to send our input. So we worked on this for maybe 2 months or so and got our input in by the deadline. So let me attempt to shout out who worked on it and yell at me if I missed anybody. So Marie did a fabulous job. Sandra did a fabulous job. David did a fabulous job. Catherine, let's see who else. I was there. Bob participated. I believe Jenna participated. It was really a team effort. Annie participated. Thank you. I knew I was going to miss somebody. Did I miss anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you so much for the collaboration on this. It was really kind of Fremont for everyone at our best coming together and putting something together from nothing. You know, sometimes we're asked to sign on to things. In this case, we created something, and I'm proud of the group for doing that and grateful to everyone who worked on it. David, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to congratulate you, Lisa, for herding us cats and keeping us focused on it. It was a great team effort, and I think we posted it. I think it's a good read for anybody that hasn't seen it. You should read it because it shows the collective contributions of everybody and the subject matter expertise we developed. And I am certain that it's going to be the most comprehensive response they're going to get from the public. And so I'm looking forward to that council meeting and riffing off that for any public speakers that should draw attention to it and draw attention to what we're advocating for. So I'm really proud of Fremont for Everyone. It's doing what we do best as volunteers coming together and with our busy schedules and yet making something together that's greater than the sum of our parts. So thank you again, Lisa, for your leadership in this.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Kate, I see your hand.
Hi, I have 2 women I know who are fighting illegal evictions in Hayward that I feel are a good outreach for. I think they're very worthy for efforts by our group, specifically me. And Dave, you have some legal expertise where if I do a bunch of the footwork, if you can help advise us, because it seems very hard to get any of the promised legal aid that's promised because there are so many evictions happening in Hayward. And with the end of the moratorium on evictions, people are getting evicted left and right. So, you know, these 2 women need help, and I'm just hoping you can help me with your legal expertise while I do some of the footwork and talk to them. It's hard because they're disabled. One of them has trouble breathing, so there's only, so much they can do and run around. So anyways, that's just what I was asking. I love all these other efforts, and I think I'd like to. I'll be participating in other stuff what we can. I'll see about the lobby day, and yeah. So that's just my point. I don't want to take completely from the agenda. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Kate, for I saw you there as well, engaging with the person who spoke. So thank you for following up on that and for your efficacy. Do you have, it sounds like you have sort of some specific asks from David. Do you have a sense of what other support you want from the rest of the group, or were you wanting to start with like some advice from the legal perspective?
I met Kay and Pauline again today because they had a housing summit in Castro Valley, which getting the information about the meetings out was not well done because the projected slide that had information meeting said 1 p.m. and they started at noon. So I thought I was arriving early. uh, but I was a little bit late, but it was 2 hours, so I was still there. So it was a good housing summit. But yeah, this kind of information should be getting out better. And there's a few other people who had experience as tenants facing unjust action. So I talked with them more. I'm trying to like get more of the case details, like all the outrageous actions by the landlord, the history, how the building went from below market rent to so-called affordable, and then the rates were actually jacked up, which is hugely ironic. And then all the things they've endured, and trying to, I just want to get this kind of caseload really, if the facts. She spoke very well in the meeting. I don't think it was recorded, if some of it. So what they need right now, because especially Kay has already been like served papers, and I looked at the AC Housing Secure website with a little video about fighting eviction, and there's like these 4 steps to fight illegal evictions, and the first step after like the papers are served is like you're supposed to like respond, and they've been given like paperwork that doesn't have accurate information about them, so they're like being pressured to sign papers that are, how you're always being told, it's like, I am signing information that is true to the best of my knowledge. Well, they're trying to make them sign papers that have wrong social security numbers and name and basic facts about them. So they're like, well, I'm not going to sign something that's false. So they're dealing with all this sort of stuff. And right now I'm just trying to do fact gathering for them. But it's very hard for Kay because she runs out of breath. There's been, after the last meeting, going out to the car, she had to she was like gasping, and I had to catch her, and I was worried I was going to have to call 911. So she recovered, but she deals with this on an ongoing basis. She has these breathing issues, limited mobility. So what I determined, it's like the long term, and she's very cynical about this housing bond, unfortunately, because she's worried that it's just going to be a tool that's going to funnel more money to landlords, because her experience is that the building she lived in under the guise of affordable housing got owned by people who are jacking up the rents, because right now there's not enough protection for tenants or services for tenants. There's more tenant protection acts in the works. I pasted that in the chat. So, yeah, so the main thing is they need someone to take time and get the facts about it. And then when I get the facts, people who have like some legal knowledge to help back up our steps, like when we respond, to just give it a look over for one thing, because I know it's going to kind of need to be a lot of grassroots stuff, would be very helpful. And maybe we should keep going to the other planned housing summits. I did ask them to put me on the email list to tell me about the upcoming meetings, and hopefully they'll get the times right and such like that. So they've gone from getting community input to they were trying to assess priorities for all the different efforts, between like supporting mobile home parks to home improvements for low-income homeowners, stuff like that. But they didn't have a poster up for services, and services to keep people from losing the housing they have, to stop like illegal evictions. That seems like a real sore sticking point, because right now there's a bond measure, from my understanding, that was for services that is being tied up in some sort of litigation, and that this big bond measure is mostly for what's called sticks and bricks, actually paying for buildings and such. So I will just keep you up to date on Kay and Pauline, and those who have legal expertise or any other ideas for this effort, that it would be appreciated.
Thank you so much, Kate. And I don't know if you're seeing in the chat that David's posted a couple of contacts for organizations that could be helpful here.
Yeah, I did some of the similar things. They have she has done the right things where there's supposed to be a phone number to call if you're a senior, if you're disabled. She went through the intake process for that. And you're not counted as a senior unless you're 60 or over, and she's like only a year older than me, so she's not 60 yet. But they are so slammed at that legal that they're just trying to do triage, because I was told that the eviction rate in Hayward is one of the highest cities. So super sucks to be in Hayward dealing with that. So she has been through the intake process of the legal services that you're supposed to go through with AC Secure. And they're told, well, they are so slammed that there's just not much confidence that there'll be a response.
Wow, that's a lot. And that's just such a reminder of like why we need these improvements, and thank you.
Okay, I've taken a look at all the good feedback here in the chat. And yeah, I would thank you, Catherine, more advice on things we can do. Yeah, the Centro Legal de la Raza, that's the same. It will go through the same AC Housing Secure channel that she's already trying to go through.
I also just realized now that we're not looking at a speaker, I'm gonna turn the camera around so you can see the crowd. Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
let's see people to people.
Yeah, there we go. Oops. Oh, there's the projector.
Oh, there's a giant light. Oh, that's better. Oh, wait.
There's people. Cool. Okay.
Yay. Hi.
Better. Yeah. Oh, what happened? Oh, my bad. All right.
Yeah.
Pop back up.
So it seems a nice thing to both advocate for legislation and then try to do some advocating for individuals we know who need help.
Yeah.
Even if they're not technically in Fremont. And I know Catherine's been through her challenges and she has a lot of hard-earned information. So, oh, wow. Yeah. Affordable is affordable to the middle class. And it's like, yeah, I think Kay would agree with that. That is just, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing this to the table and for keeping us posted. Should we move to the next agenda item, or was there more?
Sure. Thank you, David, for the email to contact you. I will do that.
So the next thing, which is another report back, is I just wanted to share for anybody who doesn't know that we participated in a tabling event this past weekend. There was a group that calls themselves the Jesus and Justice Collective, which is a group of churches that are working on anti-racism and justice work in general. And they decided to put together basically an event using their space where different groups who are serving the community would show up. So they invited us. The City of Fremont Human Services was there. The Tri-City Volunteers was there. It was a mix of faith-based and secular organizations that are all trying to serve the community, and in various ways. There were groups who help folks recover from addictions, this sort of thing. So it was a nice opportunity to, everybody who showed up there was there expecting to hear from organizations who need volunteers. So we actually got 9 signups. I don't know if anybody here signed up there. But it's, we're getting our name out and we're getting the word out. So we kind of figured this out last minute. We weren't able to give you all good advance notice on the Facebook, so sorry about that. But I just wanted to share that we got to have this event. Okay, what's next? Next, we're talking about Centerville Station Apartments affordable housing. So we've been talking about this for a couple of meetings now, and I think what we probably need at this point is we need to schedule a policy committee meeting to have a conversation and hopefully come to a conclusion on whether to take a position and what position to take. So for anybody who doesn't know, the situation right now is that there's a notice of funding availability that the City of Fremont has put out with, I believe it's $30 million available funding for affordable housing projects. And so the different projects have to apply for the funding. There are 5 projects that applied that sort of meet the minimum bar of, you know, is this even a viable organization, that are now effectively competing for the funds. And 2 months ago here at Bronco Billy's, we heard from Leanne Thomas, who's a representative of the home builder who's doing the Centerville Station Apartments project. And they're one of the 5 applicants, and they're hoping for our support. And we also did some due diligence and looked into the other projects to try to understand what we're supporting in context of, you know, what are the alternatives. And so far, I think we just haven't drawn any conclusions yet, so we need to have a focused conversation on it. So what I'm proposing is that I think we have here in this room, virtual and in person, a pretty good sampling of the people who are going to want to be in that conversation. Are folks okay just pulling their calendars out right now? We pick a time to meet up? Okay, 1 second. Okay. So we had been doing these kind of Sunday afternoon meetings, but I don't know if that's still good for policy committee folks, or if there's anybody else who wants to get involved who would want a different time.
Did you cancel the Sunday, this upcoming Sunday yet?
I did cancel it, but you know, we could put it back. So is that good? 4:30 PM this Sunday? That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna be involved. Okay. Let's see. Catherine, I know you're gonna want to be there. Does same time Sunday? Okay, great. Does anybody else want to be in that conversation?
I just have a question. What kind of projects are you just voting on the projects that have been submitted, or are you looking at alternative things?
We're basically, as far as I know, but you know, members can suggest something else, deciding whether to take a position on this specific project that asked us for our support. I don't think we've really discussed trying to support a different project as much as just support this one or not. And I'm guessing whatever gets funded, we'll probably want to support. Just, you know, yes, we want affordable housing in our community, but at this point where it's affordable housing versus affordable housing, I feel like it's a less obvious conclusion for us as Fremont for everyone. Yes.
Yeah, so to remind people, none of the other organizations has come to us. It's just this one. And their proposal has the most, it's 100% affordable housing, and it has the most units. So I think that's why we're considering it.
Yeah, thank you.
It is also the most expensive. It's the most expensive, but
Most expensive?
compared to the others, they're asking for the most money. But they're building more units, and they're all
they're-
affordable.
So they're all apartment.
Yeah,
What are they? 50 AMI and above, or?
no, they have all kinds of categories.
It's 30 to 80, I believe is the,
Yeah, but they have a certain number of slots for veterans and a certain number of slots for disabled people and for different income groups, so that it's gonna be a mixture. But it's all affordable.
all right.
Yeah, that place they tore down ages ago because they were gonna build something. They're finally gonna do it.
Oh, yeah. That big empty lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after seeing that suggestion about, you know, big awards for big projects, I was like, oh, that makes me think this big ask is maybe a good thing rather than a negative thing. But then, you know,
The 4 other entities do know about this organization, right?
good question.
The 4 other applicants are aware of Fremont for Everyone, is that right?
I don't know if they're. No,
I don't know either. Yeah, that's a good question. But you know, I don't know how the USA Properties Fund found out about us. I think they did their research, you know, who's working on this in the community. And I think if you're proactively doing that research, our name comes up.
Yeah.
So even if they didn't already know about us, they didn't find us and care to reach out.
So I think that's something the policy committee can kind of decide, like, do we want to reach out to the other ones or not? You know, we just want to vote on this one or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I did do was I reached out to the city and asked for a copy of the applications from the others so that I could have some data to compare. And I put together a spreadsheet with some of the data that I was able to pull out of those. They're enormous documents. I have a new respect for the city staff. I knew they worked hard, but my gosh, some of these, one of them was more than 1,000 pages. And it's a lot of it is like basically the resume of all the other housing projects they've done to prove that they know what they're doing, which is important, but definitely was a lot to read. I didn't read the whole thing. I just skimmed for the info I was looking for. So it sounds like consensus is policy committee to meet at 4:30 p.m. this Sunday on Zoom, just like we've been doing. So that's easy enough. I can send out the follow-up on that. Let me write that down somehow.
Bob was interested in it.
Yeah, I'll include him. That's okay. I just need a pen. So, okay, yeah. So I think we have our next steps there. I don't think we have to cover this. I'm gonna take David, because I think he dropped off, because he recuses on this item, so I want him to know he can come back. Are we ready to move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll text him real quick so he can come back. So the next item, we were gonna talk about the point in time cap. So this is what Gada was asking about. So that's, so does everybody here know what the point in time count is?
Yeah.
Does anybody need a quick refresher? Just in case anybody's being shy and doesn't want to raise their hand, the point in time count is every 2 years, we go through and physically count the number of people who are, I'm sorry?
Next Thursday.
Yes, that too, next Thursday. The people who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness in the community, so that we can have good data to inform our housing and homelessness policies. So, many of us here at Fremont for Everyone have already signed up. I think we put Fremont for Everyone as our group so that we can hopefully get matched up with each other during the count. And, the city of Fremont met their goal of volunteers, so I think they're good to go there. But if you have not signed up and would like to sign up, and if you're available well before the crack of dawn this coming Thursday, then you can, I believe you still can. I don't think that there was a cutoff point. There's an online training, there's a handful of videos. It's about an hour's worth of content, but you can watch it at double speed. So it's this time around where they're going to be doing, actually interviewing folks. So last time around, we were literally just counting, people who we saw, who we thought looked like they were experiencing homelessness, which involves making some assumptions. So this time we're actually supposed to talk to folks. So it's going to be a different dynamic. That's why they needed so many volunteers, because it takes a lot more time to have a conversation with somebody than to just, drive by and count them.
I was in the training last night and I was a little shocked because they're gonna give gift bags for people that complete the survey. And she said they only expect for us to do 400 surveys. 400 gift bags. I says there's more than 400.
Yeah, but a lot of them hide.
Yeah.
They don't want you to count them.
Yeah.
Can somebody summarize what was just said? We can't hear.
You can't hear. Oh, can you hear now? Oh, you just couldn't hear MO. Right. Emma mentioned that there's a program to give gift bags to the folks who complete the survey. They're not expecting to have more than 400 surveys completed, even though we know, but just from, our intuition as well as last time's numbers, that we have way more than 400 folks who are unhoused in Fremont. And then Marie pointed out that some folks don't want to be counted, and so would probably not complete the survey. Did I get it right? Cool, thank you for that. So Gada, you raised the point about making sure we talked about this. Did you have anything specific you wanted to say or ask?
Yeah, I was, hi there. I was just interested to see how many people signed up from our group, and it'll be the first time I'm doing this, so hope they team us together. And I specifically said, I'm from Fremont. For everyone, I want to be grouped with the others, and just kind of logistics. Once they give us our group, maybe we could reach out to each other and kind of logistically prepare for like where to meet and everything, and agree. So maybe offline, through email, we could arrange for that. You think? We don't need a call, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know our groups yet, right? I don't think I've heard.
Well, there's at their headquarters, you can meet there, or you can pick a designated spot.
Yeah, but I think.
But you still have to go pick up your bags and all that stuff, so.
Right. And we'll be assigned to an area.
Now you'll be assigned to an area, yeah.
So it sounds like the best way to do this is to each one of us just go to the offices, the Fremont Services offices on Capitol, and just meet everybody there. No need to meet ahead of time somewhere else. You guys agree?
I think it'll be easier to make that call when we know who our teams are. I think it's too early to say, but I agree that the teams should definitely talk to each other once we know who they are.
Okay. Because if we're assigned to like Ardenwood, I don't want to go down to Fremont and then drive to Ardenwood. We should just meet there.
Yeah.
Have one person pick up the bags.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we gotta pick up the bags anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. I couldn't make the training last night, so I watched the videos, but they didn't talk about the bags on the videos.
I had it on my calendar and somehow I forgot.
It was a 2-hour training session.
Oh, wow.
Well, we will watch the videos on double time then.
I'll know by Monday what my schedule is. At the work,
Okay.
because they're changing me from teaching on certain days and they were talking about Thursday. So I don't know that until Monday.
Okay. And it's Thursday morning. It's from,
Right.
5 a.m.
5 a.m.
to 10 a.m.
Right.
basically.
Yeah, kids have 0 period, first period.
Oh,
you know,
gotcha.
it's like,
Yeah.
I'm up at the crack of dawn.
Got it.
So
Noisemakers.
are we on an open mic?
I think we have made it to open mic unless anybody else had anything about point in time count that. Did we want to get a quick show of hands of who signed up? I think
Sure.
a lot of us are. Amazing. And I saw you said you signed up. So good. We're gonna have a great representation from Fremont for everyone. Thank you, team, for showing up. I really appreciate how much this team shows up for stuff. Yeah, we're on open mic. So Marie has a thing. Go for it.
Speakers over here, right?
Yeah, it's this right here.
Okay, so, it was mentioned, I saw a lot of resources for people who are dealing with landlords in Hayward and Custer County. But in Fremont, the city has contracted a lot of that stuff out. So if you're having trouble or someone who's having trouble with their landlord, let's see, can you see this? It's the Fremont Fair Housing.
Is that backwards though?
Yeah, well, I can't flip it.
Is that only good for people in Fremont?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
And my sons used them and found them very helpful. So. And they have offices and they have phone number and they have email. So, but if you just Google that, Fremont Fair Housing, they come right up.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to raise? It's okay to adjourn early if we don't have more content. I know we've been here for over an hour.
Pizza to eat.
Yeah, there's more pizza. Not ugly. Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm not hearing any more open mic stuff, so I think we'll go ahead and adjourn early. Thank you all so much for being here. I felt like we covered a lot of ground. We made some plans. Please watch your email, because I do plan to send out that ballot tonight. Actually, before everybody drops off, let me, get a quick screenshot of the participant list, which that I can here. I know. That. Okay. Great. Well, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much. Yay.